It's a kind of magic.
You know, do you remember I told you the story of this teacher in India who said that we have
Welcome to Magic Monday.
Hey,
we
welcome.
already started talking. I'm just going to stop Erycka there so that we can record this. So, letting go of comparison. So, how we compare ourselves to what we perceive to be good, or what we perceive of others, and how we compare to them.
Yeah, and how really there's nothing to compare.
Nothing.
And that's the story I was just talking about, how that Indian teacher in India, this meditation course I went to, was talking about how we have a very erroneous idea of perfection, we Westerners, because we compare where we actually don't realize that there's no two things that are ever the same. And to the example of an apple, there's no apple like another apple. You can't say that this apple is better than this apple. And it's like the same about us. Our bodies, our mind, everyone is completely unique creation of the cosmos. So giving up comparing is very freeing.
Yes, absolutely.
And we were wanting to talk about that, and also being creative. So I suppose if you are creative in your own way, then you would stop comparing, saying, oh, it's not good as, it's nothing as, because there's nothing to compare, and your creativity is your creativity.
Totally. So, if you want to do painting, do painting. It doesn't matter what it looks like. If you want to draw. If you want to take photos. If you want to build a house. If you're anything creative that you want to do, just do it. Because your way is always the right way for you. Is that right?
Sorry, I'm just listening to you, and I agree with you, but recently, I'm not a very musical person, right? And recently I had this experience of this one going, you can't go wrong, you just go like this on this drum, it'll be fine, and it wasn't fine. So, you can be creative, and sometimes there's nothing to compare, but it's not great what you do, but I guess you have to enjoy it.
But it's about the process of doing. And not comparing.
Yeah.
So just doing freely. So having that freedom to express without worrying about what other people think, or whether you're saying the right thing, doing the right thing, producing the right thing.
Yeah.
That you're just doing for you, freely, with a free spirit.
With a free spirit. So that would be about connecting with your free spirit then. Reconnecting, learning to reconnect with your free spirit. That sounds good.
Yum. That turmeric latte has is it lemon in there? Lemon rind?
Yeah, put lemon zest in there. And cracked pepper.
Lemon zest.
Give you the recipe next time.
Yeah, very lovely. Oh, turmeric latte with coconut milk and honey.
And a bit of cracked pepper to make the body absorb the turmeric better. It's a nice winter version of the jamu.
Yeah, maybe I'll make one and then compare it to yours and see whether it's any good.
No, why are we giving up comparing? You want to compare your turmeric to my turmeric? You see, we always teach what we need to learn the most.
I was joking. So you all know, from when we're kids as well, that there's that time when you're at school, necessarily, when somebody says that your piece of artwork isn't very good. And then you suddenly are not very good at art. And then that's the story that you keep telling yourself. So basically we have these stories that we've told ourselves from when we were really, really young that aren't necessary. Well, maybe you aren't very good at it, but does that matter? I think it's stepping over that. If you enjoy it, be creative, do it, and don't compare yourself to others.
Well, being a school teacher, I'm just thinking how education is all based on comparing. I mean, my Oscar was at a different school, so they don't do comparing, and they really see every individual as someone unique who has something unique to bring to the world, and they try to foster that. But most mainstream school, they would be the one that is awarded, and they compare this one person who's better than the other 29. So, and we've been
conditioned.
Sometimes that we get compared to our siblings.
Yes.
And like the comparison is being done even before we could speak. So for us to shake it off our psyche is not so easy.
Yes.
So how do we do that? We just practice it again and again, become aware, or
I guess you just have to be courageous.
Yeah.
And have courage and have trust in your process, and that if you're feeling called to practice something, you're called to practice it.
Yeah.
And that's your calling. And when we were kids, I don't know what the exact statistics are, but children do things like over 300 times. Adults do things 1 or 2 times and then decide they're not very good at it. So as adults, we put that block in our own way before we've actually practiced. To become good at something requires practice.
Also, you talked about being courageous, but I guess being courageous of that place where you're out of your comfort zone. So you're out of your comfort zone, something you haven't really practiced, you're not expert in this, and you go, oh, it's wobbly, and you don't like the feeling, so you go away. So being courageous to stay in that comfort zone as well, that non-comfort zone, and just
on
keep
the edge.
doing it. Yeah.
Life on the edge is always good.
Well, it's expensive. If you are not, expensive, like, it requires expansion.
Expansion, not expenses.
Like, sorry.
Expansive.
But if you don't get out of your comfort zone, then you are not growing.
Yes, exactly.
If you always stay in your
Yeah.
So it's having that courage is to step in, and sometimes you do.
And it's crazy to think that most of us go through school, and when you're in high school, you have the opportunity to do a language, study all these different subjects, woodwork, metalwork, drama, dance, singing, like all these things, and then suddenly at age, 18, 17, 19, you get kicked out into the world, and suddenly you stop exploring anymore, and you just become in the box that you have decided that society has decided for you that you fit into. Whether it's that you go to college and become a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse or a teacher or whatever, you're in a box. Or whether you go and work in a business, or whether, it's like we have this massive growth, and then suddenly, boom. It's that everything shuts down. And I think a lot of adults in their mid-30s maybe find that they need to discover that part of themselves.
Maybe that's what they call the midlife crisis.
Maybe.
But in that book, The Brain That Change Itself, it talks about the more you use things like your brain, you don't need to lose your memory, for instance. But because at a certain stage people stop learning new languages, new instruments, and so forth, it kind of withers, and then the brain connection. But you can
stops firing.
You can actually keep firing them by learning new movements, learning new ways, and
my mom is in her 70s, and she plays like the IQ games on her phone. Like she plays every morning the IQ games, and brain still, and she does it for her brain health.
Clive's granddad started learning Japanese at the age of 65.
Oh, whoa.
And he ended up speaking it and writing it fluently.
Wow. So it's never too late.
It's never too late
Never
to
too
follow
late.
your heart and get creative.
Yeah, so what's that thing you want to learn? You're pretty good at learning new things.
I want to do drumming, because the other day...
Because you were really bad.
No, I was so bad at it. But I want to... like if the music come on and I can dance, and I love rhythm, so I just want to learn to translate the rhythm that come in my head through my hands. And I want to practice that.
Yeah.
What about you?
What about me?
You do it all already.
What do I want to learn next? What do I want to focus on next? Writing. Like I've started doing lots of writing, but I want to do more writing. So getting written word. So self-process and writing, and then being able to portray that in a way that other people can understand.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I really admire, I admire a lot of things about you, Ruth.
Thank
You're
you.
such a can-do kind of girl and adventurous and awesome. But you also take really beautiful photo and you capture the magic of your day in such a beautiful way.
Oh, thank you.
That is something I'd like to learn to do more because I'm not very good at of doing photos, for example. We're talking about being creative. And it's really great how you capture, it puts a smile on your face, you really capture something about your day that was magic, and then you translate it and share the magic through your photos. So.
Yeah, I do like photography. I did art when I was at uni. I was originally sport and science.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went to the first science lecture and I was like, nah. I was like, I want to be in the art room with all the other cool kids playing with clay. So I did art as my second subject as my degree. And we did lots of photography. Yeah, it was great. Really, really good. Really good. So yeah, I do like being creative. And one of my dreams...
It looks like your life is the creation.
It is a big creation. One of my dreams is to have my own studio space.
Yeah.
So that I can have painting, because I used to paint a lot, and just because you need the space to do that, and I need to have things out. They can't be in the cupboard. They need to be ready so that I walk in and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, and just go and do it. So yeah, that's one of my dreams, is to have my studio space.
I recently looked at a lovely little talk from Elizabeth Gilbert, that awesome woman that wrote it right up. And what she does, because obviously she's a writer, but she wants to draw more. And what she has is that she has an art table, and there's always a blank piece of paper that's always good, and the paintings are always out, the pens are always out. So it's always ready for her. It's there, in the middle of her landroom. It's always ready for her to express.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think that's such a great idea. So whatever it is that you be creative and you choose to...
she
express yourself really.
Elizabeth Gilbert has a really good podcast.
Yeah, she's very inspiring.
It's that book, Magic. Is it Magic Happens? I can't remember, but it's actually inspired by her book.
And she does also inspire people to be creative.
Yeah, so she interviews like a normal person, say, who wants to be a photographer, and goes through their process and what's stopping them from being creative, and then she hooks them up with somebody who's doing that as their job, and that's like the second podcast. I loved it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good to identify, even sit with yourself, listen to something since you were little you want to do, play the piano, whatever it is, that this little part of your creativity that's been dormant, and just sit with why it is still sleeping while you still have the desire, and then find ways to wash away the obstacles.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember when you were a kid making up dances? Did you used to do that?
Oh yeah, in front of the mirror.
When did you last make a dance up? Like, when I was a kid, I used to make dances up all the time to everything, and we'd practice and we'd perform, do all this. Haven't made a dance up for years.
I only make dances for my kids to, because they find me completely ridiculous, and it makes them laugh, so it makes me happy to see them laugh. But that's the only time I do some silly dances.
Yeah, like even as teenagers, we were connecting with that part of ourselves.
Without
any...
It wasn't the head.
It was just
how you feel,
just
like
fun and connection, and I think that's something to step into, is that fun, connection, enjoyment, just getting that fire going within your body so that you can connect with it, because inspiration is very closely linked to creativity. And it's Brené Brown that also says that your creativity is your gift to give to the world, and it would be a tragedy if you didn't give that gift to the world.
It's true.
Your soul.
And also, I was listening to Mary Oliver, that lovely poet, a podcast she did not long before she passed away, and she talked about the talents that come through you, the things that come through you, and they actually don't belong to you. We were talking about comparing at the beginning of, practicing our creativity, and just to not own it. It's just, it comes through you. You don't have to compare it, you don't have to grasp it. And who are you to stop that flow of creativity come through? The words that come through, the colours, the movement.
Like, it's your soul's expression.
Exactly.
That's so important to connect with.
It's really good to give them the freedom, and to allow the gifts to be shared.
Yeah. Cool. So this week, be creative.
Be creative. I'm gonna just drumming classes.
Yeah, we'll record Erycka's drumming.
Shall we make you a dance for exit? No.
Yeah.
Have a
Okay,
fun
have a
week, guys.
fantastic
Lots
week.
of love
Thank
and
you.
stop comparing.
Mwah.
It's a kind of magic. It's a kind of magic.